Everyone, thank you all so much for coming out today to support Ukraine. I'm so happy to be sending pictures and videos of the turnout that we have today to all of my family in Ukraine to show them that it's smaller cities that are also protesting and standing with them. It's not just New York, Chicago, it is Tulsa, Oklahoma. This has been the worst week of my life, and every day I'm afraid to wake up to more bad news. If you were at the rally on Sunday, you will know how emotional I was that day, because that was the first day the town most of my loved ones live in was under Russian control. Every day it's just been a different emotion, switching between sadness, anger, and hope. My heart has always been in Ukraine, but now my mind is in Ukraine. Every day I see what is happening, I tell everybody here that I can, and I speak out about it. Then I go outside to see peace, and it's like I'm confused. How can it be so calm out here when there is war in my heart and my mind? I'm dreaming of Ukraine every night. My mom has found I wake up very quickly when she comes in and shouts, "Get up, Ukraine needs help," because I jump up as if I have Molotov cocktail materials ready at my bedside. The first couple of days of this war, I felt intense guilt and helplessness that I'm here while my friends and family are in Ukraine. I thought that I should be with them. I told my mom how I felt, and she told me she felt the same until she realized how much help she is here in this country. I now don't care about anything else going on. I don't care how I look on the news or if I stutter. Ukrainians did not choose to be in the spotlight, but they are handling this wonderfully. I can push myself to rise to the occasion and be a voice for them. Thank you. I feel I am exactly where I need to be right now because I am obligated to speak up in a place where it is safe and well within my rights to do so. Others cannot be so lucky. So I have since attended my first protest and also spoke at that one. I used to be afraid of public speaking, but now my priorities have just changed. I have done interviews with news reporters. I have posted a few TikToks about my family in Ukraine that have several thousand views, and if that inspires one viewer to donate to one of these charities or to reach out to their elected officials to do more for Ukraine, such as stopping the dependence on Russian oil, I consider that a success. I have agreed to participating in a cultural fashion show where I will be wearing Ukrainian clothing. This is happening March 13th at noon at the Rincon Mexican Grill and Cantina. But most of all, I came to my friend Emily with a vague idea of having some kind of gathering for Ukraine. She immediately connected me with a whole group of what my mom and I have been calling the professional protesters. They are angels. Every single person who has made this come together, thank you so much. Please give them a round of applause. You will never understand the hope, drive, and realization that I could do something that you gave to me. I could not even make something like this happen on a good week. And I'm so happy to be able to share Ukraine with everyone here. After Ukraine wins, everyone will recognize the Ukrainian flag, Ukraine's national flower, the sunflower, and everyone will know exactly who the heroic president of Ukraine is, Volodymyr Zelensky. Heroyam Slava! Speaking of heroes, I wanted to speak of the hero Ruslan Rulevsky from my mother's hometown, Berdyansk. This is the man who went viral online for moving a mine out of the street with his bare hands with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth to make sure no one else would be harmed, likely a complete stranger to him. He did all of this just to be shot and killed by Putin's monsters when stopping to use the restroom on a drive from Berestovoy back into Berdyansk. His godfather was killed as well. These fascist cockroaches must pay for their crimes. How many more innocent people have to die? How many more Ukrainian heroes that sprout out of the most peaceful seashore towns such as Berdyansk have to meet this fate before that little maniac realizes he is not welcome here? Ruslan's funeral was held today. I am just hoping that everyone who attended stayed safe. They deserve to grieve, and Ruslan deserves a funeral where all of the people of the world are able to come pay respects to him safely. A funeral is not one of the things that you are grateful for until it is taken away. My family and friends are not leaving their homes for anything. They now treat air raid sirens the way Oklahomans treat tornado sirens. They're just used to it, which is sad, but also proves that there is not much Putin can do to scare a Ukrainian for long. Despite our experience with tornado sirens, I don't think we would react the same so soon. But this is in a Ukrainian's blood. If you just scratch the surface of anything to do with Ukrainian culture, you will see how frequently this sort of thing happens. The very first line of the Ukrainian national anthem is "Ukraine is not yet dead, nor its glory and freedom. They rise from ashes like a phoenix again and again." On my first visit to Ukraine when I was 6, I spent time with my Babushka, my grandmother, in a sunflower field. She made me a wreath out of the sunflowers to wear on my head, and at the time, I had no idea that she was placing a symbol of triumph in the face of oppression onto my head. I miss my Babushka every day since she passed in 2011, but I am so thankful she did not have to see her country come to this. Today I am honoring her and all of Ukraine with the vinok, the flower wreath, and my Vishimanka, which is my blouse. The Vishimanka symbolizes storytelling and luck. It is said the Vishimanka protects Ukrainians from enemies, betrayal, and misfortunes. So basically, Putin repellent. Another example of Ukrainian resiliency is with my Dedushka, my grandfather. When the troops surrounded Ukraine, my Dedushka finally decided to schedule a dentist appointment, after all of our insisting that he must do it, regardless of how terrified he was. So a couple days into the war, he walked to his appointment to find that the dentist conveniently wasn't in that day. He told us, "Oh, well, I tried. There is nothing more I can do," and walked home. He is more scared of the dentist than these invaders. The Ukrainians of today, even some of the older ones, know now what freedom and democracy are. These are new generations. My mother tells me stories of my great-grandmother who lived through Holotamor, which is a man-made famine that took place in Ukraine in the 1930s. This was intentional. It was genocide of the Ukrainian people. My mom believes my great-grandmother was close to death at this time and still never spoke ill of Stalin long after he was dead. We will never go back to that fear. A common phrase you might have heard recently is "Slava Ukraini, Heroyam Slava." This means glory to Ukraine, glory to heroes. The phrase appeared around 1920, but despite this, the phrase was banned in the Soviet Union and denounced as Nazi propaganda. But the slogan prevailed, and we are still using it today, and still being called Nazis for using it while Putin destroys Ukraine's Holocaust Memorials. During the USSR, the Ukrainian folk musicians were executed in the streets and buried with their instruments, such as the traditional Ukrainian instrument, the bandura. Artists and writers who did not conform to the Soviet style of creation were treated the same. They tried to destroy Ukrainian art and stories, and they failed every time. When I was in Kiev last year, I had never seen Ukrainians who were so Ukrainian. I saw enormous signs saying Crimea is Ukraine, statues and memorials to Ukrainian artists, writers and musicians in place of what used to be Soviet leaders' monuments. It was the most amazing sight, Ukrainian flags on every corner. It was a patriotism that rivals that of ours on Independence Day, except this was year-round. When Ukraine wins and the media forgets about all of this, that tiny balding man will not be paying for all of the damage he caused in this beautiful country, because he hopefully will be dead. Ukraine will need to clean up his mess. Berdyansk's port was bombed last week, destroying valuable cargo. Containment around Chernobyl will likely need to be repaired, and the oil and gas reserves he bombed will need to be cleaned up. The environmental damage will be catastrophic. I ask you all to please not forget about Ukraine once they have victory. We will need to continue to advocate for and donate to the charities that will restore Ukraine. At Sunday's protest that Crystal organized, my mom and I got to meet her in person. As Crystal was talking with my mom, she gestured to me and said, "Well, all she knows is a free Ukraine." And it really hit me. All of my friends and cousins who are my age, even a little bit older, do not know Soviet times. All they know as a home is a free Ukraine, and they will never stop knowing it. As said in the amazing documentary about Ukraine in 2014, Winter on Fire, it's on Netflix, by the way, you all must go watch it. You cannot make a free person kneel. Sunflowers do not bow, even in the strongest storm, and neither do Ukrainians. Thank you.